Yeah, I think to a large extent we have the current state of the Patriots to the Kraft family fortune is benefiting, but the fans are really paying the price. And as for an A- for a guy who did do a decent job at times, he had 3 turnovers. And in professional football, 3 turnovers, I don't think you can give anybody better than a C+.
Are you grading that on? And thanks for the call, Jeff. Are you grading it on the curve as a first NFL start and questionable protection and weapons to work with? I mean, how do you come up with an A-?
Yes, no, totally fair by Jeff. We love the high standards, especially in New England. We can't forget the Super Bowls that were not that long ago. But my point, and I detail this in the Herald, is it's a couple things. Number one, it is the context of working behind the worst pass-protecting offensive line in the league, not having good weapons, and you can't run the ball. Oh, and it's all against a great defense. It's also your first start. Like the rookie curve, I don't think there was anyone in this market watching anywhere in New England expected him to throw for 3 touchdowns, which is more touchdown passes than Jacoby Brissett had in 5 games beforehand. So if he goes out, and to Jeff's point, has 3 turnovers, which again, the second interception, I'm just flatly not pitting on him. Tipped at the line, insane defensive play. Great job by Eric Murray. I call it 2 turnovers. If he averages 2 turnovers a game, obviously there are no more A- in his future. But for now, that absolutely more than passes.
Okay. Now, talking about the weapons, it is amazing how Demario Douglas and I won't even say Hunter Henry, because I never thought Hunter Henry was a bad choice, a bad option. It just wasn't able to be utilized. But a couple of these receivers look like, they're solid 3s.
Yeah.
When you have somebody who could actually put the ball where it needs to be.
Well, it's weird because
like knocking on the door being a 2, maybe if you see more of that. How about that?
An actual catch and run by receiver up the sideline, or a ball dropped in the bucket by a guy who actually had a step on a defensive back.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
0.8 yards of separation on that touchdown. Shout out Next Gen Stats, but 0.8 still separation.
Yes,
that was Callahan on his touchdown. It was partly the activation of the deep passing game. Drake May had, again, the deepest touchdown that we've seen from a Patriots quarterback in almost 2 years, as many as Mac Jones had his entire time here. Jacoby Brissett was just not even attempting those throws. It was longer than any completion he had through the air. The other part is Houston played a ton of man-to-man coverage and blitzed a lot. And so once Drake got his arms around this game, you could see him mentally settling in after the pick. Nerves are gone. He was attacking rightfully at Pop Douglas when it was, okay, you want to play man? You want to do one-on-one? You want to go heads up? That's my guy. And so he fed him over the middle, crossing routes. I don't think I saw an option route in there, but they'll get to it. And so that was them playing matchup ball. And that's what I've been asking for. Like, you would think I'm trying in a roundabout way to get Demario Douglas's number or affection. The way I'm like, give him the ball, put him on the field more. But even Sunday, he played fewer snaps than Jalen Polk and Callahan, because he's coming off the field in 2 tight end personnel. He's got to be out there more. We saw what he did when Drake got him the ball.
We'll come back around on the Patriots as they get ready to travel to London, where they will take on Jacksonville on Sunday morning. But with all that you were doing last night, Andrew, did you get a chance to watch much of the Jets and the Bills?
I did see parts of the second half from NBC, and then when I got home, boy, I don't think I was missing much, though, when I was in the car.
So 205 penalty yards. How many total flags were thrown last night?
22, I want to say.
Or 22 accepted.
11 for each team?
Yeah.
That sound right?
And there were others that were not. I mean, it's just a comedy sometimes watching 2 teams that at times cannot get out of their own way, more specifically the Jets. I don't know what it's going to take to get this team to not just get in their own way to the point. You have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. There's no doubting the man's talent and the man's arm. But undisciplined doesn't do that word justice. They're just out there, freewheeling and freestyling and doing whatever it is they think needs to be done in the moment. And it's going to continue to cost them game after game, personal foul penalty after personal foul penalty, the offsides, everything about that team just says to me, you know what? Saleh wasn't the right coach to get him the Super Bowl, but he wasn't the problem.
So a few things on this. Number one, I don't think anyone in New England has a problem with the Jets self-destructing.
Yeah.
Number two, their mantra when Saleh got there, continued by Jeff Ulbrich, has been all gas, no brakes. First time they came into Gillette Stadium, granted this is 3 years ago, the Patriots ran so many screens and just plays to punish their over-aggression that they ran up 54 points, which I don't think we've seen in a season yet. since then. Number 3, to the point about the penalties, did that officiating crew look familiar to either of you?
Was it a hockey league? Was it
No.
a hockey league?
It was the crew that was here 2 weekends ago when the Patriots were getting flagged 12 times, and Nick Leverett got a false start for moving the ball back, which might have actually gone, or actually for moving the ball forward, which might have actually gone backwards. So my colleague Doug Kai tweeted this out, and I couldn't remember if it was the weekend before. He confirmed it's the same officiating crew that did Pat's Dolphins. So if you want to know why that game was ugly, yeah, the Jets are messing around because they're the Jets. It's also an officiating crew that loves their TV time.
That makes sense. What were you going to say, Wallach?
We were talking about Aaron Rodgers, and I wanted to play that sound for Andrew.
Roughing the passer?
No. This has to do with the last play of the game. Last play the Jets had where Rodgers threw the interception. And most quarterbacks will be, you know what? We got to execute better. I laid it out there. It wasn't necessarily a good pass. Rodgers went the other direction.
Do you have it ready there, John?
I do have it ready. I'm just not potted up in the other room.
there we go. Okay.
We good to go? Let's try it again.
There's 2 verticals. Allen's down the seam, Mike's down the red line. So I'm looking at Allen. He puts his hand up, 3 guys go with him. So I'm throwing a no look to the red line. And when I just peek my eyes back there, he's running an inbreaker. It's got to be down the red line. I was throwing it to the red line, but when I got to about here, I realized he was running an inbreaker, so I had to kind of adjust it a little bit. But the play is 2 guys vertical, 1 guy down the seam, 1 guy on the red line.
That is a quarterback throwing his wide receivers under the bus. Andrew Callahan, you've been at this for a while now. When was the last time you heard a quarterback directly do that to a teammate?
Not a teammate, but Mac Jones had a couple of words for his coaches back in the day.
That's
remember the
different.
frustration.
Of course, we remember that. But openly criticizing your teammate for running the wrong route the second the game is over.
I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers. Like, what do we expect?
Not that.
To his point, if the receiver runs the wrong route, you could just say we had a miscommunication.
Yes.
So that way he went too far.
There are 80 different ways you could have done that.
It's also bold as hell to be like, yeah, I was throwing a no-look pass under 2 minutes left in a game we kind of have to win. And there was a wrong route. Maybe look. I don't know. Like, you have 2 verticals. You're going to have 1 open, as he detailed. And the red line, when he talks about that, is just an imaginary line that every team draws in practice that's just outside the numbers. And so basically, that determines whether the safety of the corner is going to take that receiver. And if you're your receiver, you're aware of that line that the defense is mindful of. So it's just a vertical route closer to the sideline. That's all he means. But yeah, there's a lot wrong there. But I don't know. I guess I'm not surprised by anything more with Aaron Rodgers, and especially when they're losing.
Okay, let's talk about this game in London as the Jacksonville Jaguars will stay there and take on the Patriots on Sunday morning. What's the latest line on this game? Is it 5.5?
It was 5.5 yesterday. Talk amongst yourselves. I will find it. And I will report it with accuracy.
That surprised me.
Some find it unconscionable. But you got
still 5.5.
Okay, you got Drake May in there. You lost by 20, and he's going to be a guy making his second ever NFL start. A week after he gets the job, now he has to go on the road. He has to go into completely unfamiliar territory and play a game in London. Same offensive line, same weapons, same defense. So while you may not like it as a Patriots fan, I get it. How do you make the Patriots favorites against anybody right now? Unless it's the Jaguars or maybe another team or 2 you could make a case for. But I don't have a problem with that. I just don't know what to do with it.
I thought it would be closer to 3 points. But Jacksonville being favored is right. I would just say you should take 20 minutes. That'll be all to watch Jags lowlights or pick any game, pick any time in the game, and just watch this defense, which actively quit, by the way, last weekend against Chicago when they're getting steamrolled in England. They're a bad football team. They're 1-5 too. This is a badly coached football team. And we know that Tank Bigsby's doing really great things for them in the backfield because he's like Ramondre Stevenson, creating a ton of yards after contact. He leads the league in that category. Aside from that, they don't have anything going. And Trevor Lawrence looks like a guy who's completely lost. So this game, as I said last night, might be rejected like a bad organ transplant by the time people get to halftime. This could be Pat's Colts last year in Germany if Drake May doesn't do something similar to what we saw on Sunday.
The quarterback battle right now, considering how bad Trevor Lawrence is, I'll take the rookie. If you're going to match up the 2, and both teams are so bad. I watched some of that game yesterday in the morning on Sunday. Chicago looked like they were Super Bowl champions. That's how bad
They look
Jacksonville
so good.
is. I mean, they are so terrible. The Patriots not only could win this game, they should win this game. Patriots don't have a good roster. They should beat that team.
Wallach, who's their starting center?
With the Patriots?
Yeah.
The guy they just brought in off the street, Ben Brown.
Ben Brown.
They're still better than
Who
Jacksonville.
was their best offensive lineman? Not
Well-
according to me. I only had him down for one pressure. Gerard Mayo said yesterday morning, the new guy who's still learning everyone's first names and where the cafeteria is in the building, it was our best offensive lineman.
They still should beat that team that I saw lose. And you're right, they actively quit. They should beat that. And you know what? After Jacksonville loses, Doug Peterson doesn't get on the flight on the way home. They fire him.
Well, he did get the dreaded vote of confidence for everyone wanting more Jags content here right now. But look, these are two very bad teams. This is a winnable game for the Patriots in that they will take the field against another bad team and have some opportunities. But we just talked about this in the last segment. Their run defense is broken, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get Kyle Duggar back, and Christian Gonzalez doesn't look that great, and they shouldn't have too much trouble with the Jags receivers. But there's nothing for the Patriots right now to hang their hat on. Like, they're asking as much of Drake May, and I would argue even more than Drake May is asking of them. And that was my takeaway from Sunday, is he's of more service to all of his teammates and coaches combined and was in that game than they were to him, given how much he created on his own. Phil Perry had this 8.5 yards per play when he's extending a play, the 40-yard touchdown bomb that he dropped, again, unprecedented in recent Patriots history. So that's a team that's not suited to win on the road, let alone across the whole freaking ocean.
Wallach just convinced me. I just put Pat's money line bet in and just did it. I'm convinced, Wallach.
Good.
How much, though?
It's a couple grand. No big deal.
I was going to say that I don't care about the amount as much as like the confidence. You know, anyone can put $10 down on anything.
My coffers are full after my same game parlay hit on the Lions-Cowboys game. Yeah. Holy crap. And a couple of them seem like obvious now, the David Montgomery anytime touchdown, the alternate passing yards for Jared Goff, which was, I think he was originally at 225. So I said, he's going to go for more than that. Give me 250, better odds, bigger. I took, of course, the Lions, and I took the over. The over barely hit. Montgomery got the touchdown early, but that was it. And, all right, it did squeak by on the over. Thank God the Lions scored one more time because the Cowboys weren't doing anything. What's Dallas going to do?
If you so I don't put any money in the NFL since I covered. I don't want it to affect how I look at the game. But I will bet a little college football on Saturdays. Do either of you bet college football?
No, I do not.
I do. I do not do well.
I was going to say, if you want to question your life choices,
I know it's impossible.
Bet on games that end with Will Howard sliding with no time left for Ohio State in a matchup of top 3 teams in Eugene at Oregon going, you were 10 yards from a field goal. You just had to throw the ball somewhere near the sideline, one more completion, or kickers missing from 30 yards away, or any number of crazy things that happened at the end of Bama, South Carolina. I've talked before. I used to cover college football. It is the most fun you will ever have. The product is not as good. The football is not as high caliber. But, man, if you want a thrill, just lock in, especially with a little money down on a Saturday.
Yeah, I shied away from college betting. This goes back decades now because I lost big on Alabama on a Saturday, probably back in 1993.
Okay.
And then chased on Sunday and Monday night to the point where over the weekend I had lost $300, which was twice my net worth. I mean, I was the guy that I had to pay back, my roommate, to pay the bookie. It took me weeks to pay off that $300. And I didn't bet any sports for a while, and college football for years and years after that. I mean, that broke me financially.
So 1993, are you meeting, or your roommate meeting the bookie behind like a big Y?
Big Y's around back then?
Come to think of it, I never met the bookie. It could have just been my roommate who was taking my money.
Oh.
Which happens a lot.
He probably had Maz's headphones too.
You know what? I'm going to ask him about that. I still talk to him. Yeah. If you like that clip, and how could you not? Check out more videos from Toucher and Hardy here. Point slightly up and to the left. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. Point slightly down and to the left. And for the latest from the Sports Hub, download at 985thesportshub.com.